Well, we are tracking out some storms and warm temperatures this week, but we have an edition of David's Discovery today.
Yeah, so this spring we've seen a lot of storms move throughout the region, some severe and some not, and I think they dropped some hail for this year. And, you know, hail forms when we have that big warm updraft moving throughout the atmosphere, feeding into that thunderstorm cloud there. So definitely, you've heard me say before, we need an updraft in the atmosphere. That's a warm column of air that feeds into the cloud and helps it grow. So once you get ice crystals that are in this warm updraft and some super cooled raindrops, which means that they are raindrops that are going to be in the liquid phase below freezing. Once we get a strong updraft feeding into that cloud, it's going to propel it to the upper levels of our lower atmosphere and cause those super cool water droplets to collect on there and sometimes freeze on contact and then sometimes not also freeze on contact, so right away. So that's kind of how hail formation forms.
Okay.
And sometimes we get going into a cycle that's going to then get back into the updraft, and then we're going to continue to see it refreeze with those super cold water droplets on there. So we're going to continue to see that as it cycles through there, and that's how the hailstorm keeps growing larger and larger and larger in that thunderstorm cloud before it drops to the ground in a downdraft. So
and some of our area was really seeing a lot within the past couple of weeks.
Right,
we saw those storms
at least pea-sized, maybe some quarter-sized hail in some areas. So I do have a little demonstration to show you today about an updraft coming out of this, our hair dryer here in a ping pong ball. So if I turn on this hair dryer for us today, and I place the ball on here, you're going to see it start to float on the updraft. So notice this, that if I turn it to one way, it's going to continue to stay in our updraft from the hair dryer.
It's pushing up.
And it's pushing up, and if I turn it the other way, it's going to stay on there too. And so what's happening is that we do have lower pressure around the perimeter of the ball, and there's higher pressure on the side of it. So if I continue to move it from side to side, the higher pressure around the outside of it will continue to push it towards the middle there. And this is just simulating what an updraft is, and that this is simulating the hailstone, what we're seeing in the cloud here. So this is staying in place because of what a scientist discovered before, Daniel Bernoulli. Daniel Bernoulli discovered that if you have a fluid like air, and it travels over at a higher velocity, it travels over a surface, it's going to create lower pressure, and that's why we see the lower pressure around the ball here. So if I take this toilet paper roll, hopefully, we're going to continue to see it and put it over there. And see, it popped up when you put the tube on it, because during that tube, when you put the tube over the ball, it creates a higher velocity inside there and it causes the ball to shoot through.
Oh, cool. This is such a fun thing for the kids to probably try at home, you know, almost a science magic trick experiment to try out.
Yeah, and that's perfect for home and just learn about weather. And in South Dakota, actually, we saw the largest hailstone in 2010. That was in Vivian, South Dakota.
Oh, wow.
So, and they had about 8 inches worth of diameter there. So I have a graphic on my web article for that.
All right. Well, thank you so much, David, and more on KTTC.com.